You're on the clock with Tyler Jennings and Jared Perkins, a Prospects Live podcast for everything MLB Draft related. Join us as we discuss the biggest stories from college and high school baseball, bring you interviews from your favorite draft prospects, and break down live looks with Prospects Live analysis across the nation. Get ready, because you're on the clock with Tyler Jennings and Jared Perkins.
Welcome to another episode of On the Clock by Prospects Live. I'm Jared Perkins. That's Tyler Jennings. We have an incredible guest with us today, outfielder Ian Petrutz out of Alabama. Ian, how are you doing today?
Good.
Awesome, man. We're excited to have you on, just learn a little bit about your journey as well. For the viewers who don't know you, just give a little bit of background on kind of how you made your journey through amateur baseball.
So growing up, I played pretty much Little League growing up. I didn't really get into the travel ball scene, which I think is pretty unique, especially nowadays. And then I started playing travel ball at 13. I went out and played for the Go-Wags out in Harrisburg with Luke and Cole Wagner and the guys that were in the Little League World Series, if you remember that Redland team.
Mm-hmm.
And then kind of like made some mentors and role models through that, and 14U went to Worldwood Bat for the first time, and there is a video that Prospect Dugout posted of me hitting a bomb with a wood bat at 14 at Lake Point, and it like blew up, went completely viral. And honestly, at this time, I didn't really know what college baseball was yet. Like, I was in high school. I only played Little League. I played like 5 sports. Like, it wasn't, I wouldn't say like it was a dream of mine. Like, now that I'm in the SEC, people always ask me, is it a dream of yours? Was it a dream like to play in the SEC? A lot of kids say like, yeah, I've always wanted to play in the SEC. To be honest with me, like, no. And it wasn't really a dream come true to play in the SEC. I just wanted to play baseball, and was always playing, like, I guess from 14U on the highest level. So anyway, like my first phone call was Matt Swope at the University of Maryland. And that was the only school I'd ever wanted to go to. It was the only college I knew. I love their colors, and being from South Jersey, I always watched South Jersey guys go there. Like Mike Schwarn, John Murphy, like those guys, Gloucester Catholic guys went down there and had historical careers. So I just thought it was really cool, and really unique that they recruited pretty heavily in South Jersey. When John Sheff was the coach, I was playing for Brooklawn Baseball, if you know Brooklawn Legion, pretty historic program. I was playing travel, like just training through there and playing some local tournaments with Brooklawn. And John Sheff had come up, and I was working out with all the Gloucester Catholic guys, and I just got to hear him talk and stuff, and I just became obsessed with Maryland really young. And they were my first phone call. I got a text from a coach asking if I would like to hop on the phone with them, and we hit it off and started building a relationship from there. I went to camp that summer, and they had offered me, and I committed on the spot because that was the dream come true for me. And then growing up through high school, I played for Zoom Baseball Academy out of Philadelphia with Anthony Solomito. If you guys are familiar with that name.
Yeah.
And those guys quickly became my best friends. And then COVID happened, which was kind of the biggest blessing in disguise for me, because I got to really train. I built a home gym, became like one with my body, and really started working out for the first time, getting stronger, and just playing baseball. We were playing sandlot baseball in South Philly, and it was like the best summer ever. I mean, literally, it was like straight out of a movie. Playing like
that's awesome,
right off the railroad tracks, and just playing every single day. We had guys throw in, and it was awesome. And then I ended up transferring to Bishop Eustace, where I finished high school, because I was playing travel ball with all those guys, and I got to finish senior year with them. And then fast forward to Maryland. I had always talked to that coaching staff about on the phone, just about doing something that we've never done before, doing something at Maryland that had never been done. Like, we want to make history, and started making connections with all the commits and all the kids going there, all the current guys. Matt Shaw became one of my best friends before I had even gotten to campus, which was so unique and cool, and just the culture that the coaching staff was building. By the time I got there, it was like we were all connected, and sure enough, we hosted a regional for the first time in school history in my freshman year. and made history. So like that's why these guys have such a big part, and I have such a good relationship with them and everything. So
Yeah, I love that. And we had your head coach on, Rob Vaughn, at one point. Talk about the relationship that you had with him, just because he seems like one such a player's coach and like cares about the players that come to play for his program. But what was your experience like playing with him and learning from him?
yeah, Coach Vaughn is again another huge blessing to me. Just not only is he a baseball coach, but he truly is a leader of men.
Mm,
And I feel like he leaves guys better than they found them. He becomes like a second dad to guys, and you look at who he has, who he's coached, not just on the baseball field but off the field. He won't bring this stuff up, just being humble, but he's coached guys that are now Army Rangers, like the most elite of the elite. He's got guys that are in the Secret Service, like being at Maryland,
yeah.
that Washington D.C. connection. He's got guys that are in the Secret Service and just doing things that aren't everyday things that you don't see guys doing every day. And then he's got big leaguers, he's got Matt Shaw, like one of the most talented, unique players I've ever played with, who truly really wasn't anybody coming out of high school, and was developed and kind of built by Maryland, which is awesome. Not all
Yeah.
of it because his work ethic and the stuff he did, but you know, definitely partial credit to them and the stuff they've done. So he's just a mentor. He's like a father figure to a lot of guys, and I think it really shows in like the day-to-day stuff he does.
I love it. Talk about the relationship you mentioned. You became really good friends with Matt Shaw. What was it like to have that kind of mentorship and just have that person who's kind of on somewhat of a similar journey as you are, right? Just trying to make it in college and make it to the MLB draft as a young kid coming up. Like, what was that journey like?
Yeah, so Maddie, he's unique. You don't meet people like him every day. Um, he's still one of a kind. I've never met anybody that's like him. I can only assume there's certain guys like him, like when I'm watching big league games, and stuff like that. I've heard a little bit about Bazana, and I've heard some stories of him in the Cape, and it sounds pretty similar,
Mm.
baseball wise. But I mean, Matt went to bed every night at the same time. He takes a nap at the same time every day. Eats the same exact food at the same exact time every day. It's like routine. It's not like, and he does it without thinking.
Yeah.
But he's tried so many different things and always is working to find the next best thing that makes him great. And just being able to be around that and learn from him it was like one of the most awesome things that I think ever could have happened in my career. My first day at the University of Maryland, he sat me down. We were in the batting cage. We hadn't really talked yet. He didn't know I was going. I didn't know he was going. And he sat me down, and instead of hitting for an hour or 2 hours like most guys would, he sat me down and we just talked. But we talked about like baseball, stuff that I didn't even know about yet. Like in high school, I always look back, I'm like, if I would have known like what an approach was in high school, I would have been the greatest high school hitter of all time. I didn't know what an approach was. I didn't know 2-0, 3-1, you were getting a fastball. Like I didn't know what that stuff was at all. And Matt sat me down and just talked to me about there's 3 approaches you can have: sitting pitches, hunting zones, or just hunting something over the plate. And he told me like a little bit about what he does, sitting pitches, and then watching him go throughout the fall and like literally going up to guys and being like, he's going to throw me this 0-0. He's going to land it for a strike, and then the next pitch he's going to throw me this, and I'm going to hit it over the fence. And then doing it, like actually doing it, was really cool to see, and it builds trust. And
Yeah.
and you see like, okay, he's actually doing this. This is how he's doing it. Let's work on it. And he just led by example, man. He wasn't a rah-rah. He didn't say too much, but he was just a guy who followed his lead. And when he was the example of leaders go first, like in everything he did. Just a great role model to have around, for everybody. And he's one of a kind and is a great teacher.
I love it. Tyler, I'll turn it over to you.
You mentioned Matt Shaw. I do want to ask this because I remember he had what they measured as like a 514-foot home run at Iowa one day. Can you confirm if that was actually like legitimately 500 feet?
I don't know, but it disappeared pretty dang quick. And there was like a bridge in left center field, and I'm almost positive it landed on top of the bridge. So I don't
That's
know.
insane.
I've never seen a 500-foot home run in my life, but I can assure you it was the farthest one. It was a grand slam at that. And I know
Wow.
the wind was howling out too, but he did hit it like 111. And like I don't know the analytics of it, but I mean it was touched.
I'd say that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also do want to ask, you mentioned the College Station Regional or College Park. Sorry, I got Texas on my mind right now. But that's the first time you guys hosted in Maryland history. What was it like just being on the field at that? Because I know Jared was there in the stands, but like just being a player, at the first ever regional for that college, what was that like for you?
Emotional, I'd say. Um, like coming out of the locker room after batting practice, you're going back down on the field, getting ready for in and out, and just looking up at the stands and being at a place that wasn't really known for baseball yet, was kind of coming up and coming around, and we didn't really get many fans. Like Friday night against rival Michigan, to have the lead in the Big Ten, you'd have 400 people there. It wasn't great. And we didn't know what we could do. We didn't know how many fans would turn out. We know we sold out tickets, but we didn't know what that meant or what it looked like. And it was the first time in my career where I got to play in front of a real crowd that had our back for sure. Earlier in that year, we played at ECU, which was really cool, but I wasn't on the field yet. I wasn't in the lineup. So I don't really know what it felt like. But having like that many people cheer for you and pull for you, it was one of a kind. I can't imagine what it's like playing at a school like A&M or something like College Station.
Yeah.
When you get 3 times the amount of people. Like I don't know how many people we held, but it was probably like 5,500, something like that. And other schools do triple that. Like Duty Noble this year, triple that. But yeah, man, just emotional. I was crying when the first time I walked out of the locker room on our first game before LIU. And then that big play with Bubba in Game 7 against UConn, just hearing the crowd roar was emotional.
Yeah, I was at the LIU game, and it was just nuts how packed that place was. Because I had gone for regular season games, and there was no one there. I'd always sit behind home plate, and they had like all the media people stuffed into the right field corner, basically, and it was just rowdy. It was kind of cool to see.
Yeah, I would say it was a rowdy environment. I don't know how toxic it was for like the opposing team, but I would say I got to play at Wake last year too in the regional, and I would kind of compare the venues, like kind of built the same.
Yeah.
People are in the right area, like similar areas. I mean, Wake was the most toxic environment I've ever played in. Not really baseball people. I don't want to throw too much shade, but a tough place to play for sure.
As if the ball's flying out at infinite pace wasn't hard enough. You're not wrong. The fans over there.
Yeah, we're facing Rhett Lauder at 1:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
Oh my! I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh man. And I'm not trying to throw shade on Wake fans either. Like I've ran into a couple weird ones, to say the least. But no, I did want to ask though, just with you going to Alabama, what was the biggest thing you learned about yourself this year? Comparing Big Ten play to the SEC, what was the difference like for you?
I would say on the field, I proved to myself that I could do it. I would say there was definitely doubt. Like I'm not even gonna lie and try to tough guy it. But the doubt stemmed from, like I said, it not being a dream to play in this conference. Like I didn't know what the conference was. I just know everybody says it's like AA baseball. And I'm gonna be honest, I thought it was a lot easier to hit on a Friday night in the SEC than it was to hit on a Sunday in the Big Ten. And I don't think it had anything to do with motivation. I don't think it had to do anything with like not getting yourself up for the game, but more so a guy like me who uses pitchers' plans to my advantage and seeing a scouting report and really using it. You're not going to get a guy who's accidentally cutting it or accidentally running it. You're gonna get his stuff, and you know what it's gonna do when you get it. Like when you look at the heat map, they know what they're doing and where their plan is. They're not gonna try to go outside of their plan. Whereas you face a midweek guy and you might get 94, 96, but sometimes he accidentally cuts it. Well, that's dang hard to hit. That's a good way, I feel like, to get a good hitter out. Just when it's doing something different every pitch, it's hard to make a plan in the box. So in the Big Ten, it ranged from 96 on Friday night to the last guy you see on Sunday is 87, 89 with like 2 pitches. You know, here it just honestly kind of gets better the deeper you get into the bullpen. So that was, I thought that was one of my biggest takeaways. And then off the field, I definitely learned a ton about myself just taking in the Alabama like atmosphere and the traditions here, especially through the fall and stuff. I came to know Jesus, which life-saving. I think changed the course of my baseball career forever. And just helping me stay in the moment and realize that there's a bigger plan out there than what's going on, whether good or bad, no matter the day. So those are probably the biggest things I've taken away this year, both on the field and off the field.
Yeah, I think that's a good transition for the next question I was going to ask you, because you talked about kind of the impact that you've had with religion down there. But what are some of your passions away from the game that really help you kind of get yourself removed from baseball, get your mind off the game, like the good and the bad performances?
Yeah, number one, first and foremost, is pursuing Jesus Christ, and just pursuing eternal life is number one for me. It's my biggest passion, my biggest hobby. Always in the Word, always talking to the Lord, and just how can I better move the kingdom forward. Outside of that, helping out the community, helping out my little brother. Like, I'm coaching his baseball team this summer. Just helping out in any way I can. I love helping the coaches, talking to recruits. I love weight training, hitting, like that's on the field stuff, but like not really. I love like pursuing hitting as like a passion and just understanding at a higher level, like watching baseball and just and just watching the game is really fun to me. I wish I was back home in Philly so I could go to Phillies games every night and watch it in person. That's one of my favorite things to do in the summer is go to Phillies games, just go to baseball games. When I was at Maryland, I was going to Camden Yards a lot, Nationals Stadium a lot, and just watching the game, hanging out with my friends, fishing, and just being outdoors.
I love it. It's good to see that you have a ton of passion that you can go to right outside of the game. Tyler, do you have any more questions before we get into rapid fire?
Let's fire up some rapid fire, my friend.
All right. So the first question I always ask is, what's the go-to restaurant either in your hometown or at the University of Alabama?
Chuck's, right here in Tuscaloosa.
Love it. Second question is, did you get to meet Nick Saban while you're at Alabama? Yes. How was that experience?
It's cool. He has like this aura to him.
Yeah.
I saw him right after lift. It was like 7 a.m. And I was walking in the dining hall, and he parked right outside, right next to his office, and he was walking across, and me and my buddies just said what's up to him. He asked us how we were doing. He was just a nice guy. But he has this aura to him where he's like, it's almost like he's like reading you.
Yeah.
Like when he meets you. It was cool. It was cool.
I love it. Where's the one aspect of your game that you think you really improved on this year?
My defense. I was a DH at Maryland, and I took a lot of pride with Coach Papio and just trying to get better at it. And it was cool to see as the season progressed, I consistently got better and more comfortable out there. So
I love it. Tyler, you got any rapid fires?
Well, you stole my question about Nick Saban. I was going to ask that. I guess I can stay on the Saban front rather, because Coach Vaughn mentioned he has like a red Ferrari he drives like once a week. Do you know if that's actually like true?
Oh, it's true. I have a few pictures of it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Love it. Ian, we can't thank you enough for taking the time to join us on the Clock. We're wishing you nothing but success in all your future endeavors, whatever you decide to do, and then wishing you luck in the draft and all those things. So, again, thank you for joining us, and we'll be following you.
Thank you. I appreciate it, guys.